And I remember that one time when we were driving by and we found a bedside table by
Yes.
the dumpster. It was in a decent condition, right? So
Yeah.
we brought it home. We pretty much
Cleaned it up.
cleaned it up and listed on Facebook Marketplace for like $30, and somebody bought it. So
Yeah, just free money.
yeah, it's free money, right? So
Free dinner.
free dinner, yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
free dinner if you're going out and eating, right? But we don't go out and eat, so that's like one
Well,
week's worth of groceries for us.
groceries,
Yeah,
right? Yeah.
yeah. Free
Free
dinner for
gross.
3 days, right?
Yes, yes, exactly.
So, hey guys, welcome back to the channel. This is Sharil from Modest Millennial, where we talk about all things money that they don't teach you in school. And today we are back with yet another podcast about financial independence. And I have my wife here with me, her name is Wish, and she is still our certified frugal person from last time. And we are here
You
to
still
talk.
remember that, right?
That's great. And we are here to talk about financial goals and why financial goals are important and how to achieve your financial goals in life. So before we begin, definitely consider liking this video if you have found value in my videos so far, and consider subscribing to the channel if you want to keep listening to us and about our financial independence journey and how that would help you achieve financial independence as well.
Hi, everyone. This is Wish. Thanks for all the love and support from the previous podcast. If you haven't gotten a chance to check that out, please feel free to check it out. We'll leave the link in the description below. So feel free to check that out if you haven't. And let's get started.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, so today our topic is financial goals and how to achieve your financial goals. Also, why financial goals are important. So what do you think about this topic? Do you think it is important to have financial goals in life?
I think so. So, yeah, for anything, like goals are really important to achieve anything. That may be like, buying a house or buying a dream car or even achieving financial independence. You have to have a goal. And with the goal, I think planning is also required. It's not something that just happens overnight. So, like, you cannot just get up and, oh, I achieved FIRE. That's not something that happens. So, you have to plan that and work towards it.
That's true. Yeah, I think to achieve financial independence, you really have to start working towards financial independence as early in life as possible, because I think compound interest plays a major role in your journey of achieving that financial independence that you're looking for.
Yep. So, yeah, like you were saying, compound interest is really important, and it doesn't happen overnight. It has to be like you have to be disciplined to invest, to save, and you have to plan for it. So, yeah.
Cool. Yeah. So let's start by discussing some of these financial goals we have as a couple for our future, and what are some goals we have already accomplished in our journey towards financial independence. And we can also explain why some of these goals are so important in the journey towards financial independence.
Absolutely. So, yeah, I can go first. The one which is near and dear to me, that's, getting rid of high interest debt or not carrying balances on your credit cards.
I think I agree with that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, like, people don't realize that they go and spend money and they keep paying minimum payments. And then they stake up with all this high interest and, like, they screw themselves up on
Yeah.
that.
Yeah, I think credit cards are really bad for your finances. If you use them incorrectly.
Yeah.
I mean, there's definitely benefits for using credit card, but they can really be bad for your finances if you don't know how to use them.
Yep. So, like, for example, if you are buying something for $1,000
Yeah.
and you carry that balance for, let's say, 3 years,
Yeah.
and if you're paying like 20-25% interest on it, then you are like, typically paying $500-600 worth of interest for the next 3 or 4 years,
Yeah.
which you don't even realize that, like, you're paying half of what you paid for something in the interest. So, is that even worth it?
Yeah.
Is
Yeah.
the question.
That's true. And I think that's where the concept of lifestyle creeps come into play as well. I think a lot of people just buy random things just for the sake of buying them, or they think that buying certain things is going to give them the happiness or the pleasure they're looking for in life.
Yeah.
And also credit cards are so easily accessible, right? I mean, even for 20 or some things that are just getting their jobs, you can easily apply for a credit card and get a decent credit limit, even if you cannot afford to pay off all that money right away. And that's what credit card companies make their money on. They just capitalize on you being in debt the whole time, and then charging you interest income, or charging interest on the money you're spending from the credit card to buy things that you want, but you don't necessarily need.
Yeah. So yeah, typically people buy everything on their credit card, like we talked about in the previous video, and they keep buying it without realizing if they'll be able to pay that off. They keep buying that, and then one fine day they wake up and they realize that they are screwed, and they have a lot of debt on their credit card, and they cannot pay that off. So it's really scary.
That's true. Yeah, basically they're just really digging a deeper hole for their finances, right? I mean, just going into credit card debt is so bad for your finances that if you don't realize it soon enough in life, you basically keep paying interest on on the purchases you're making for pretty much the entirety of your life.
Yeah. What's the interest rate? Is it 20-ish%?
Yeah, I think 20-25% on an average. That's what the credit card.
Insane.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
Right. And that's also for people with good credit score. If you have a moderate credit score, then that's even higher, per year. So you don't even make that much interest rate through investing in the market either. I think investing in the S&P or so gets you like 8 to 10% every single year.
Yeah. Isn't that crazy? Like the credit card people make money out of a lot of money out of our money.
But then how else do you pay for things?
Well, you can still use your credit card. I'm not saying not to use credit card. You can still use your credit card, but pay that off right away, like the next month. Just pay it off, and that way you'll always be in check that is that something you can afford. Because what typically is happening is people just go and swipe the cards. They don't realize that, can I really afford that? And they keep stacking that up. And one fine day, it's huge that they cannot pay that off.
Right.
So yeah, you can still pay using credit card and take use of the points or the cashbacks and pay it off the next month.
Right. So what you're basically saying is, do not go overboard with your credit cards, but only buy so much that that you have enough cash sitting in your bank account to pay off with, in case the when the balance comes due end of the month.
Right.
That's what you're saying.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
And you can make use of, you can get the points or the cashbacks, right? Like things are already, the prices are already built into it. So why not take use of it and just pay it off? That way you win.
That's true.
In all the scenarios.
Yeah. No, you're 100% correct. But I think a lot of people also do credit card hacking, right? Where they only have credit card to get the points that the credit cards are offering, or the cashback that the credit card is offering, or the intro offer where you get a certain cashback, certain good cashback for just opening credit card, and then for the rest of their life they don't even use that card again. So then that's also another strategy. But I guess your main point or main goal there being just staying out of consumer debt and credit card debt as much as possible.
Yeah, anything which has high interest. What would be a high interest, like around 5%?
Yeah, I think so. So I think there's good debt and there is bad debt. I think I've talked about that in one of my previous videos. But good debt is basically say your mortgage or a cheaper car loan, for example. So specifically with a mortgage, you're at least building equity for the next several years of your life. But your interest rate, specifically now, right, over the past almost a year, interest rates have been so dirt cheap that you can afford carrying that mortgage for the entirety of 30 years and investing the remainder of the money in the market, right? I mean, there is always discussion about should I invest my money or should I pay off my mortgage? I think it's better off to invest the money, specifically because mortgage rates have been so cheap over the past year. But then there's bad debt, such as like student loans and credit card, because they charge you more in interest than what the market can gain you for the entire year. So
for the mortgage, I remember I was paying extra, and then we calculated, and we were we are better off just paying month to month instead of paying extra on the principal. So I agree to that.
Yeah, then we started investing that extra money in the market, right? Yeah. I remember
now
that.
We invest and then pay the mortgage from that.
Mortgage, yep. Exactly. No, that's I think that's you just have to be smart about things. You cannot just do things just because it is being advertised that way to you.
Yeah.
Because I think they say that 15-year mortgage interest rate is cheaper than 30-year mortgage interest rate. Um, and you are bound with a fixed monthly payment with a 15-year mortgage, right?
Yeah.
But you could very easily get a 30-year mortgage with a slightly higher interest rate.
Right.
And if possible for you, keep making higher payments on it and
Yeah.
pay it off in 10 years or 15 years if you
Yeah.
wanted to.
Yeah.
But that way, if your income goes down for some reason and you are not able to pay that much extra money that a 15-year mortgage requires every single month, you
Yeah.
could still pay a bare minimum that a 30-year mortgage requires,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
still get by.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, I'm really scared about getting a 15-year mortgage, and what if you lose your job
yeah,
and you cannot pay, because obviously the payments are higher for the
Yeah.
15-year versus the 30 years.
Yep.
And what if you lose your job instead? 30 years is better, and then you
Right.
can always pay more.
Right.
And
Yeah,
get
and I
rid of
think just so much has happened over the past year that I think we have just become, not that we have lost our job so far,
Yeah,
which is,
thank God.
thank God, but we've just become more conservative with our finances and, our decisions about money overall, right? So, the last year has taught a lot.
I agree. Wasn't that insane and scary? Every single day we used to be scared. What if we lose our jobs? Do you recall
Yeah,
that?
yeah, yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, there were a lot of unemployed people, unfortunately, last year, and there still are a
Yeah.
lot. Fortunately, it's getting situations are getting better. So
Jobs being available now,
Yeah,
people
yeah.
are employing. So yeah,
Yeah.
it's getting better. But yeah, I do
Yeah.
remember that.
Right. So speaking of losing jobs, right? I think I'll go with one of the goals that I absolutely follow, and I think that for me is just having an emergency fund always,
Yeah.
and that can be 6 months to 12 months worth of your expenses saved up in a certain account that you easily have access to. What do you think about that?
How about investing in Bitcoin?
No, I think Bitcoin is too volatile for investing my emergency savings into. I do invest in Bitcoin, but not my emergency savings. I have a separate account for that, which if Bitcoin goes down to zero, which I'm pretty sure it never will. But if it does, and I lose that money, it's it is what it is. It's not gonna affect me emotionally that much. So, but yeah, speaking of emergency savings, right? I think it is important to, once you have paid off your debt, I think that's one of the second major goal, to have just 6 months to 12 months worth of expenses saved up in a emergency savings account, typically a high interest savings account, because if you're just saving that money in a how should I say, in a checking account, you're not going to make any money on it. But on a high yield savings account, right now the interest rates are low because of how the market is, but once the federal benchmark rate starts going up, the interest rate on the high yield savings account will also go up.
Yeah.
I know before the pandemic, it was anywhere up to 2 to 3% every single year, which is
Right.
not bad, right? I mean, you're still making some amount of fixed income on your savings. So yeah,
I remember BlockFi. BlockFi is offering 7-8% of interest on the money sitting on GUSD.
yeah. No, I think on stable coins, you're right. So
Yeah.
they're offering about 8% interest, but like I
Not
said,
that,
I mean,
not that I would recommend
Yeah,
that, but
exactly. And also, I mean, the thing is, with Blockfi or any of these investment accounts, right? Like with Robinhood, for example, you don't have easy access to money, right? Because if you have money sitting in GUSD, for example, that's in a different account that you don't have a debit card for, or you cannot go to the ATM and just borrow money from it.
okay.
Whereas if you are putting money in a high yield savings account, you will have a debit card and you will be able to just use that money right away. So say,
Oh.
for example, if your car were to break down and you need $1,000 right away to fix it.
You don't have that money right
Yeah.
away.
So instead of swiping credit card, you can just take that $1,000 from the high yield savings account and pay that off.
Yeah.
So and that's why you don't invest your emergency expenses.
Right.
The other reason why you don't invest your emergency savings is because, say you at the peak of the stock market, which it is right now, you invest all of your savings into the market, and 6 months down the line, the market doesn't perform so good, and the market's down, say 40%.
Yeah.
And at that point, you end up losing your job due to some reason, and you need that money. You are basically selling,
Taking loss.
taking a loss and selling that out to pay for your expenses, right? So I guess
It's a
just
win-lose situation.
yeah,
Like you lose out on the interest for that money, but
right,
at the same time, you take a risk of not investing that money and you don't get the interest on that.
right. That's
Yeah.
true. That's true. And
Yeah.
you're selling at a loss, right? I mean, it's much better. Like if you're selling at a loss and taking your money out of the market, I think cash is a better position to be in that case.
Right.
So at least for for the interim when you don't have a job and you're looking for a job and you'll eventually have income start showing up in your bank account again. I guess it's smarter to just have all of that money saved up in cash.
Yeah.
So for us too, I guess we save about we have it in the brokerage account, not
Right.
invested, but that is about about 20% of our portfolio right now that is sitting in cash
Yeah.
always.
Yeah.
And when we invest a certain percentage from it into the market, we'll always just from our paychecks replenish it back
Yeah.
and still keep it to that 20-25% mark.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
So why do you think we talked about a couple goals here, right? The first one was just not having consumer debt, and then the second one was once you not don't have any debt whatsoever. Well, not that once you don't have a high interest debt, you
Right.
should start saving for emergencies, right?
Mm-hmm.
Why do you think for you some of these goals are important?
I would say it's mostly to get flexibility so that you don't have to, worry about, for example, we were talking about credit cards, right? Like your credit card bills are stacked up and then you lose a job. How do you pay that? Like either you just, declare a bankruptcy
Yeah.
and wipe that off. But otherwise, if you lose the job, how do you pay that off? So financial flexibility is something I look towards. Like I don't want, like every single morning I wake up and I don't want to worry that, okay, how, like if I lose my job, how am I going to pay my mortgage or how am I going to pay for the food? So that's something which is really important for me, and it gives me a good sleep.
That's interesting. Yeah, I think flexibility is really important because for me, I've been on both sides of the coin where at one time I had enough crap with me and
Yeah.
I had swiped credit cards left and right and I had certain amount of credit card debt. But now I don't have any debt and I save money and I invest money. And I think I sleep much better now
Yeah.
than I used to a few years ago when I did have some amount of debt.
Right.
So even now, I guess it was really important to just be better financially before the pandemic hit last year, because I think it was a scary situation overall. But knowing that you had money saved up in
Yeah.
case something happened, I think we were less stressed out than a lot of
Right.
people out there.
Right. I'm glad we got to witness that situation. I mean, it's bad, but all of us, I'm glad we got to witness that. So now we'll be extra careful with our finances instead of, like we heard the stories from our parents and, grandparents, but we never witnessed really all this situation. So we didn't really know all of this. So
Right.
this was really helpful
Yeah.
to get better in life.
Yeah, no, I think our heart goes out to everybody that had major issues with the
Yeah,
pandemic. But
yeah,
for us, it was, fortunately, we were able to keep our jobs and keep working and keep building our, savings and investments. And fortunately, we were able to learn a lot about not just investing and the importance of money, right? Just the economy in general and how
yeah,
everything works and why things happen when they happen and
right,
what's exactly happening in the economy
yeah,
right now. So.
yeah. We saw the recession, but not something like this where the economy was shut down, like the world was shut down,
Yeah,
right? Basically, it was scary.
Yeah, yeah. And I guess the last recession I saw was 2007, 2008, right? Um, I was very young.
Yeah,
I was
yeah,
probably what 15 years of
yeah,
age,
yeah.
and didn't really understand what was going on in the world, right? So
We sort of understood the after effect of it, like after effect of the recession.
yeah,
But yeah, this was like, you were grown up enough to understand everything going on in the world.
yeah. And if something were to happen, you were accountable for it, right? Because if something were to happen, you wouldn't have money coming in, or you wouldn't be able to pay bills. So that means you would be directly affected
Yeah.
by this one. So I think it was much more scary in the real sense than 2007, 2008
Yeah.
recession. So
And to that point, another thing I would recommend, like apart from your regular job, like, you should have something built up like side hustles or something like that, where you're not completely dependent on one job. Like if you lose that, you have something else to fall on.
Right.
So
I agree. So I think one of the side hustles that I was thinking about earlier, and I did a collab earlier with Aziz Finance, and I talked to Aziz about one of the side hustles that I really enjoy and like doing is selling used stuff or
Yes.
flipping stuff.
Yeah.
So there have been times when we were able to find stuff on the internet, on Facebook Marketplace or on Craigslist, and we were able to just sell it again for a little bit more money.
Yes.
So that brings in a few bucks. And I remember that one time when we were driving by and we found a bedside table
Yes.
by the dumpster. It was in a decent condition, right? So
Yeah.
we brought it home. We pretty much
Cleaned it up.
cleaned it up and listed on Facebook Marketplace for like $30, and somebody bought it. So
Yeah, it's just free money.
yeah, it's free money, right? So
Free
and
dinner.
free dinner, yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
yeah.
free dinner if you're going out and eating, right? But we don't go out and eat, so that's like one
Well,
week's worth of groceries. for us.
groceries,
Yeah,
right? Yeah.
yeah. Free
Free
dinner for
gross-
3 days, right?
Yes, yes, exactly.
So-
So what is one of the reason for you to have financial goals in life?
I guess my major reason for having financial goals in life is just to create accountability towards myself and towards my finances. You know,
What do you mean by that?
I guess since we have been following our goals for a while now, it has just kind of become second nature. Where if in any given month, right, we have less money in emergency savings than we typically do, it gives me anxiety. It used to be that I didn't have any money in savings and I had credit card and I was living just fine. But
You
now,
didn't have a saving account?
right, I didn't have a savings account. But now that we have we have a more structured way of dealing with our finances, and a certain percentage allocated to where everything should be. If any of those percentages shifts a little bit downwards or towards the negative side, it just gives me anxiety. So the reason for having this particular goal about emergency savings, right, I think that's just to keep me accountable towards myself and my finances, or our finances, I should say. And that just keeps me more motivated to work harder and more motivated to keep bringing more money in every single month, so as to just keep everything stable.
Yeah.
That's my definition of hey, this should be 20%, that should be 30%, that should be 50%, and nothing else, right?
Yeah.
So that's financial stability for me.
Yeah.
So yeah.
And to that point, like even if you have to overspend, like if you are like, okay, let me buy this or that, you'll still think twice because you won't be able to put that money in the savings. So
Yeah, that's absolutely true. I think that's also a part of accountability, right? Because
Yeah.
just because I'm disciplined towards my finances and just because I have accountability towards what I'm doing with my money, I'm able to make better decisions on if I should be buying something that particular month, or if I should be holding off until I'm more able to afford that's something that I want to buy.
Yeah.
And oftentimes it so happens that I want something today, but 5 months down the line, do I really want that? Probably not. So
Yeah.
it's kind of an impulse that I want something.
Yeah.
But it's just that it's a want, right? It's not something I absolutely need to live my life. So
Yeah. Going back to like, people going and buying stuff via credit card.
Yep.
If you're just using your credit card, it's very easy to, get up and buy that stuff. And then you lose interest in that particular thing. Like you don't really care and you're like, okay, it's just another thing.
Yep.
Versus you bought it for a very hefty price, right? Like
Right.
for example, $1,000 or something like that. And if you saved that from your own money, then you worked towards it, so
Right.
you really will value that thing much more than
Right.
just getting up and buying that thing.
yeah,
That's
absolutely.
what I feel.
Right.
Yeah.
No, I agree. I guess most people don't know where they are financially in life. I think that's also one of the reasons why they will go out and so easily spend money on certain things that they really just want in their life.
Yeah.
But I think once you realize where you are financially and where you need to be financially in 10, 15, 20 years from now, I think that just puts more of a scare factor in your life, because then you're like, oh shoot, if I go out and spend $1,000 on that thing right now, that $1,000 could be worth 35,000 in 30
Yeah.
years. So I'm giving away $34,000 worth of future gains
For
for
that
my
particular
impulse.
thing.
Yeah, for my impulse right now.
Yeah.
So different perspectives about how everybody looks at money. But yeah, I think just knowing where you are financially and being accountable towards yourself and your
Yeah.
money, I think that's really important.
Yeah, and I'm not saying like you should not buy stuff really, but have some thresholds like I'll buy $1,000 worth of something in next 6 months if I
Yeah.
save this much. So I'm not saying that you shouldn't buy anything
Right.
or something like that, but
Right.
have some discipline towards it, and if it's really needed, then you can go ahead and buy it. If that's something you really want, sure, go ahead
Yeah.
and work towards it.
Yeah.
But yeah, having a goal is really important. If you're working towards it, then you'll think twice before spending, and you really won't feel bad that, okay, I'm not getting this thing right now,
Right.
just because you're working towards your goal.
Right. Right. So I guess that being said, I think that's a good midpoint. I guess that being said, definitely if you're still watching, please consider liking this video down below and subscribing to the channel for more similar content. And if you enjoy watching our conversation about financial independence and how we manage our finances, and you want to learn more about our financial independence journey, definitely comment down below about what you liked about this particular video and what else you would like to hear about our financial independence journey, and how we are progressing towards that journey. And I guess that being said, let's talk about what you do, or what is the third goal after so first one was a consumer debt, getting rid of that. Second one was saving up for emergencies, having an emergency fund. What is the third goal you think is more important towards finances in life?
Yeah, I would say saving up for a mortgage or saving up for a house.
Okay.
I'm not saying like go ahead and buy a big house. Even if it's a small house equivalent to the rent you are paying, that's decent enough. Go for it, but save for that and start early for getting a house.
Right. Yeah. No, I think that's really important.
Yeah.
Because most mortgages, like we discussed, run 30 years.
Right.
So if you buy a house between say 20 and 30 to maybe even 35 years of age, by the time you are 60, 65, you're pretty much done paying off that house.
Right.
Right. So
Yeah.
if you buy a house later in life, if you realize that you probably should have bought a house, and at 40 you're buying a house, you are paying it off at 70 years of age. So that really increases the amount of years you have to keep working in life. And I think that is why it is important. First of all, in terms of consumer debt, just not have consumer debt to begin with. If you have consumer debt, okay, fine, go ahead and pay it off.
Yeah.
And then after that, start saving for emergency expenses. And then right away after that, start saving for down payment for a home.
Right.
And also, as far as the down payment is concerned, I guess a lot of people just rely on just believe that they absolutely have to have 20%. But I don't think that's the case, right? I mean,
No.
you could easily get by with up to 5%
Yeah,
down payment.
Yeah, 5, or there's also FHA, which is
Yeah.
3 or 3.5%.
Right.
So yeah, you can get started with that and then get something which is equivalent to what you're paying for rent.
Right.
And one of the benefit to that is like rents keep increasing every single year.
Yeah.
So either you have to move somewhere else,
Yeah.
or pay that extra $50-$60 or $100, which they increase. But with the mortgage, it's 30
Right.
years fixed.
Right.
You'll just pay the same amount for the next 30 years,
Yeah.
right? So it's a win-win.
Right. That's true. Yep. And I guess also the interest rates, right? If you do a 30-year fixed interest rate mortgage, then interest rates are not going to increase over the 30 years for your mortgage payment.
Yeah.
But
yeah.
inflation is going to keep going up,
Right.
right? So if your inflation is going up, you pretty much get you're on the positive side even with the interest rate, because if interest rate is 2.5% for this year, inflation for next year is 5 years, you're already negative 2.5% on your interest rate.
Yeah.
So that really plays an important role with mortgage planning and with home planning as well.
Right.
So
And with the rent, you are just throwing away that money versus
Yeah.
if you're buying a house, you're building up an equity which you
True.
can use that, or do a refinance later and take that out, take that money out
Yeah.
and buy another house, rent
yeah,
the
or buy a
current one.
boat.
A yacht.
A yacht. Yeah, please don't do that.
And then get a storage place for the yacht.
Yeah, exactly. Yep. And pay insurance on it every single month,
Yes.
and pay for maintenance every single month,
Yes.
and go out on the lake probably 3 times a year.
Yes. Yeah.
Interesting. Yeah, no, I think that that point about getting the equity from that and buying a rental property, Aziz Finance also brought that up earlier this afternoon, and I think I think that kind of makes sense. But it really depends on what size of property you're buying. If you're buying a $1 million home, do you really want to take a home equity line of credit worth 1.2 million when the house goes up to 1.2 million? Because it's a lot of money, right? People don't even realize how much money that is. So, but yeah, I think the other thing you could also do is, the home that you purchased first, you could buy another larger or similarly sized home and rent the first home out, right?
Yes.
You could also do that. So you don't necessarily have to take home equity line of credit.
Right.
So,
Why is that so?
well, you could, save money for another mortgage and, put down payment, put money down on another property, buy that property, and then, move from this property to the other property, and then, rent out this particular one that you just bought or bought a couple years ago. Yeah, I guess one of the final goals I have for this video would be, start saving for retirement. Of course, start saving for retirement, goes without saying, retirement is also equivalent to about, financial independence.
Right.
So as long as you're saving for financial independence, you're also saving for retirement, sort of.
Yeah.
So, for that, I guess, once you have paid off your debt and saved up money for emergency expenses, I guess start saving for getting a mortgage, get a mortgage as soon as you can. And simultaneously, maybe also start putting some money away towards retirement. So it could be your 401k account, your brokerage account, your Roth IRA account, 403b account, depending on, what kind of a work situation you have. And I guess based on that, again, like we discussed early on in the video about compound interest, right? Compound interest is your friend, in the long run. So if you start investing early on in life, compound interest is really gonna play wonders for your money, and your money is gonna grow significantly over the next 20-30 years of your career or of your life. So if you start saving money for retirement right away, when you're 20-25 years of age, by the time you're 40, 45, or 50, your money would have already grown so much that you would be close to or already would have achieved financial independence. And that just, makes your living situation much more better and makes you not need work to sustain your lifestyle that much more. So
Another quick question I have here is, if you have debt, would you still invest in 401k?
that's a good question. I think the 401k I would still do.
Yeah, to get the company match.
The company match, because if you are putting whatever your company match, it's 4%. If you put 4% in the 401k and your company is giving 4%, that's already 100% return on your money, right?
Yeah.
So I would do the bare minimum at the very least.
Just to get the company match.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And still keep paying off debt.
Yeah.
But I wouldn't do anything beyond that, because I think if you have debt, I think the debt is eroding much more buying power than the market is earning you.
Yeah.
So you're better off paying off debt beyond any sort of company match you're getting.
Your goal should be first pay that off and then start investing for retirement.
Right. Exactly. Yep.
Yeah.
So are we good then?
I think so. Yeah.
Yeah. I think we definitely discussed 4 goals there, right? And then a couple of reasons why goals are important. I guess we'll end on just another final reason why goals are so important. And I guess for me, it is that goals give me a reason to celebrate. Who doesn't like to eat cake, right? Every once in a while. So, whenever we achieve a certain financial goal that we have, we'll celebrate, right? I mean, celebration doesn't have to be, several $100 thrown towards, eating outside or drinking outside and things like that.
We just bake at home.
Yeah, we bake at home and we'll, take a day off and, just chill for a bit and plan go to a park and drink some wine and, plan for future goals. Right. So I think that's also another reason why I enjoy having goals and enjoy achieving goals.
Yeah.
More than just having goals.
Yeah, it doesn't have to be serious, right? Like just talk to your partner and talk to your significant other and just discuss it's part of life.
Right.
So
exactly.
It should be easy.
Yeah, I agree. So on that note, guys, thank you so much for joining us for this video. I really appreciate you guys spending time on listening to our thoughts on finances and financial independence, and specifically financial goals, for your life and how to achieve them. And if you did find value in this video, please consider liking this video down below and subscribing to the channel, for more similar content. And we'll see you again in our next podcast. See you.
See you. Thank you.
Bye. I didn't get up this time.
Ali, you're too tired. Are you too tired? You never